Hello, everyone, and here we have a new story. Before we get to that, I want to ask you to subscribe, like, and be sure to write comments in order to participate in the development of the community. Write how to improve my community, current topics in the stories you are interested in, and much more. I read and listen to all the comments. People write me stories by mail from different countries. There are problems with translation. I apologize for this. I will work on it and try to fix these errors. I want to thank everyone for their support and the people who wrote to me by mail, broadcast news stories. New videos on my channel are published once every 2 days at 7 p.m. Don't forget to put a bell in order not to miss new videos. And now, let's go. Hello, I want to tell you my story. I'm not a very good storyteller, so don't judge me harshly. I am 26 years old. My wife is 25 years old. We met in 2017. We had a strong love, as probably happens to everyone at the beginning of a relationship. A year later, we got married. We had a great wedding for 100 people. My wife said she loves me and can't live without me. In general, we lived soul to soul. Another year passed and we decided to have a baby. When my wife was pregnant, she literally ate my whole brain. My wife said that God forbid I would start cheating on her. That cheating is the worst thing that can happen. Therefore, we will disperse immediately. I was very pleased with my wife's logic. I thought my wife had very good thoughts, so she would never do that. As they usually say, my wife is not like that. During my wife's pregnancy, we didn't have sex. When our son was born, my wife started making claims to me that I often meet with my friends. Because of this, I don't spend much time with my family. At least I met with my friends once every 2 weeks on weekends. Moreover, these were purely male gatherings at a party with a grill and beer. When I suggested to my wife to go spend time with her friends, she replied that she didn't need it anymore and wanted to spend time with her family. Super. I thought about it and started slowly moving away from my friends. I met my friends less and less often. Soon our gatherings with friends came to naught. Rather, they went the same way, but without me. After all, family is the most important thing in life. The New Year holidays were approaching. We decided to spend Christmas at our mother-in-law's country house. I sent my wife to my mother-in-law 3 days before. After work, I went to them. 3 hours on the road made themselves felt. Around 1 o'clock in the morning, I began to fall asleep. My wife started trying to persuade me to go to a local party. She wanted to have fun and meet her childhood friends. I refused because of my fatigue. My wife started cleaning herself up and went to the party alone. My wife came home at 6 o'clock in the morning. I found out this information later. I didn't know what she was doing there, but from that moment, it all started. On the first day, she acted as if nothing had happened. On the second day, she confessed everything to me. My wife said that her childhood friend in the role of a man wrote to her on social networks to wish her a Merry Christmas. As a result, he began to write intimate obscenities to her. This guy told my wife that when she arrives in town, she will have a surprise waiting for her. According to my wife, she rejected him. She decided that I should know about it. But she deleted the correspondence with this guy, justifying it by saying that she did not want to injure my psyche, but she refused to show me who it was. Okay, it's okay, I thought. The main thing is that she told me everything and did nothing. But at that moment, I was seized with terrible jealousy. I couldn't even think about it before. Well, that's when it all started. My wife began to make scandals very often. She said, I spend a lot of time at work. When I get home, I do my chores around the house and go to bed. We began to have sex very rarely. We had sex at best once every 2 weeks. My wife began to visit her best friend often and drink alcoholic beverages. Now I've already begun to reproach my wife. I asked my wife why she visits her friends so often, although she said she didn't need it and wanted to spend more time with her family. In response, I received from my wife that she was wrong and she needed to spend time with her friend. My wife did not let go of her mobile phone. She corresponded with someone every day. When my wife received the notifications and I went to her mobile phone, she immediately yelled at me not to watch anything. Sometimes I checked her mobile phone, but I didn't find anything suspicious. We lived in such an atmosphere for 2 months. One day, my wife went to her best friend. "It's 12 o'clock in the morning. I'm calling my wife and telling her to go home." In response, I get that we will sit still. I will come back later. It's 2 o'clock in the morning and she's still not there. In general, I did not wait for my wife and fell asleep. I woke up at 8 a.m. because our baby was crying. After all, what do you think? Of course my wife is not at home. An hour later, she came home and asked me for forgiveness. My wife said she accidentally fell asleep. I called my wife's friend. She confirmed that my wife had fallen asleep on couch. Well, who would doubt that my wife's friend would tell me the truth? Next weekend, my wife wants to go to her friend's house again. But this time, she invited me to go together. I agreed and we went together. To be more precise, my wife left earlier. I arrived a little later, when they had already drunk a lot. I again observed the picture that my wife does not let go of her mobile phone and is in correspondence with someone. Then my wife ran away with the phone in her hands to another room. When she came back, I started snatching the phone out of her hands with words, "Who are you writing to there?" But my wife strongly resisted and her friend snatched her mobile phone from her. But she did not immediately give my wife's mobile phone. First, she checked something there. I looked at the phone, but there was nothing there again. Okay, I think this is some kind of nonsense. Time passed, and I went to bed. I wake up at night because I want to go to the toilet. I look at my wife sleeping next to me, and her mobile phone is on the table. I took her phone and saw a notification about an unread message from some guy. At the same time, this guy's contacts are saved in my wife's mobile phone. He called her on Christmas Eve. A message with the text "Stop sleeping." There was nothing else. But okay, I think I'll talk to my wife in the morning. In the morning, we had breakfast and went home. When I get home, I pick up my wife's phone and that message is no longer there. I'm screaming in a rage. Who is this guy who texts you at night? Do you even take me for an idiot? Why do you secretly correspond with men? My wife started crying and begging for forgiveness. She said, "I got it all wrong. This guy wanted to have sex with my wife's friend." But they corresponded through my wife's mobile phone. Okay, I think it's quite possible. Time passed and I forgot about this situation. But in any case, when I take my wife's mobile phone, I immediately hear reproaches from her. 2 months have passed. We went to visit my sister. She lived next door. I went home to sleep, but my wife stayed with my sister. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I was woken up by a call. I was urgently called to work because something happened there. I get up to get ready, and I observe such a picture. My wife sleeps with an extension cord stretched out to the sofa. My wife's mobile phone is charging and is lying next to her. But it immediately became clear that she had been talking to someone all night and her phone was dead. I took her mobile phone, but again, I didn't find anything. But in the last calls, there was this guy's number. I felt really bad. I realized that this is complete shit. At work, I did not get out of the internet and was looking for an opportunity to view remote correspondence. I came across a hacker who, for a fee, was willing to help me with this. When I got home, I asked my wife if she loved me. Of course, I received a positive response. I told my wife that I had seen this guy's number in recent calls. My wife replied that she was very drunk and did not remember anything. In general, I needed to get access to my wife's mobile phone. The hours until my wife fell asleep seemed like an eternity to me. And then the moment came when my wife fell asleep. I contacted a hacker and connected my wife's phone to the computer. Everything I saw there cannot be described in words. I was shocked. My wife had an intimate dialogue. But not only the dialogue, but also photos and videos with my wife. I watched the video in hysterics. In one of the videos, this guy ripped off my wife wherever possible. The most interesting thing is that they both didn't mind recording this video. I still can't figure out why. In the rest of the videos, my wife used different intimate toys. By the way, in one of the videos, my wife strapped a rubber penis to herself and tore off this guy. It was like a depraved porn. I stayed up all night drinking whiskey and smoking a lot. In the morning, I had a conversation with my wife. There were a lot of tears, snot, and so on. My wife became hysterical and begged for forgiveness without stopping. She screamed that she couldn't control herself and didn't know how it all turned out. She wanted to feel something new, but she was very afraid. But then her brain seemed to shut down. In a rage, I started yelling at her to pack her things and get out of my house. I barely got my wife out of there. It was difficult. She fell on her knees in hysterics in front of me and begged me to stay. The next morning, she called me and asked if I had changed my mind. I replied that I would never change my mind. By the way, I forgot to tell you that my wife had an affair with this guy for a year. As soon as I left for work at 9 in the morning, my wife started acting. I've been moving away from this situation for 2 weeks. As a result, with a cool head, I filed for divorce. It was very difficult for me to come to terms with this. But in the end, I live alone and I feel great. My wife does not give up trying to come back to me. She is undergoing treatment with a psychotherapist. But whatever happens, I won't be able to live with my wife. I remember what she did and it gives me the creeps. I don't forget my child. I support him financially and spend time with him. That's the story, friends. Be vigilant and watch your wives or girls carefully. If you liked it, give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Now let's move on to the opinion of the author of the channel. The opinion of the author of the channel. By tradition, I want to wish the main character strength and patience. After reading this story, we can conclude, there are devils in quiet pool. The guy made the right choice after such actions of his wife. There should be no other choice. What his wife did to this guy made me smile. This guy is just a little bitch. By the way, a good relationship is a transparent relationship. The girl calmly gives her phone to the guy. If a girl is nervous when a guy holds her mobile phone in his hands, in 90s of cases, a girl has something to hide. If a girl enters a password on a mobile phone, this is the first sign. Keep in mind. So be vigilant. If you have watched to the end, I want to say thank you very much. I love you all. Thank you for joining me on this exciting journey of love, betrayal, and redemption. I appreciate your support and encourage you to subscribe, like, and share this story. Your participation and feedback are invaluable for shaping our content and promoting mutual understanding and community growth. Until we meet again.